Hey there, CMA Nation. Let's get into today's bet of the day, where we'll keep it going with our deep dives into Major League Baseball win totals. Today, we'll look at the Colorado Rockies and the Cleveland Guardians. We'll start with the Rockies, who won 61 games last season and finished dead last in the National League West. Unfortunately, Rocky fans, your team didn't do a lot to improve during the offseason, but let's get into it and break it down. We'll start with some things I like, and that begins with the re-signing of catcher Jacob Stallings. He's not a game changer, but he's a solid veteran behind the plate who's built good rapport with the pitching staff, so I like that. They also brought in second baseman Tyro Estrada from the Giants. He's been a steady, underrated player, and if he can stay healthy this season, I think he could have a breakout year. I really like what they have at the top of the rotation. They have a solid 1-2 punch with German Marquez and Ryan Feltner. The Coors Field effect, of course, is going to inflate the ERA of the rest of the starters. And it's not a great rotation from top to bottom, but it's good enough, and it's certainly not the biggest issue on this team. So let's talk about what is, and that is the bullpen. This team ranked dead last in the majors last season with a bullpen ERA of 5.41. They did very little to improve during the offseason, so I don't have a lot of confidence there. Chris Bryant, let's talk a little bit about him. He's the highest paid player on the team. He's barely played over the past 5 seasons. In fact, he's only played more than 80 games once. If he could stay healthy, though, he would add a much needed power bat to the middle of this lineup. So we'll keep our fingers crossed there. Some young talent and players to watch. I do like Jordan Beck and Michael Toglia, 2 young bats who could make an impact. And I love Brenton Doyle at the top of this lineup. He had 21 home runs last season and stole 26 bases, which is a really nice mix of power and speed. All right, final verdict. The Rockies are still a bad team, and their streak of 6 straight seasons finishing 4th or worse is not going to end this season. They also play in a brutal National League West, which makes things even tougher. That said, 50.5 wins is an extremely low total, and in fact, only 2 National League teams in the last 5 years have finished with fewer wins than that. I don't see them getting significantly better, but I also don't think they drop below 58 wins. So we're going to take the over, but with only 1 baseball on the confidence meter. I think it's going to be close. All right, let's shift gears and now talk about the Cleveland Guardians, who won 92 games last season and made it all the way to the American League Championship Series. Unfortunately, this roster did take some hits over the offseason. There's some question marks around. And because of that, their over-under has dipped to 82.5, which I think is an interesting number. So let's start with what they lost. Josh Naylor, their best offensive player, was traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks, taking his 31 home runs and 108 RBI with him. They're hoping they can replace some of that production by bringing back Carlos Santana in his third stint with Cleveland. He had a decent season last year, even winning a Gold Glove. But at 39 years old, I do have some concerns about how much gas he has left in the tank. Unfortunately for Guardian fans, top prospect Chase DeLauter, who was expected to make an impact this season as a rookie, got injured. He will be out 8 to 12 weeks. And Andre Jimenez, a 3-time Gold Glove winning second baseman, he is no longer with the team, unfortunately. He played 152 games last season, gave them solid offensive production, so he will sorely be missed. Some things they gained, though. They were able to re-sign former Cy Young winner Shane Bieber, who I like. He is recovering from Tommy John surgery still, but he is expected to return in early summer. When he does come back, he'll rejoin a solid top of the rotation in Tanner Bybee and Luis Ortiz, 2 arms I really like. The rest of the rotation isn't great, but it's serviceable enough. The biggest strength of this team last year was their bullpen, which finished number 1 in Major League Baseball with a 2.57 ERA. That unit remains mostly intact. In fact, they added 2 arms I really like in Paul Sewell and Jacob Junis. So I have no concerns at all there. Let's talk a little bit about the lineup. Jose Ramirez is still the heart of this offense. He's coming off a monster year with 39 home runs, 118 RBI, and a 279 average. If Santana can hold up for 1 more year, I love what Ramirez and he form in the middle of that lineup. Could be dangerous. The bottom half of the order, too, has some solid players in Will Brennan, Bo Naylor, and Juan Brito. So it should keep this team competitive from an offensive standpoint. All right, final verdict here. This is a tricky one because the Guardians are definitely worse than last year, and they will take a step back. They're going to be close to 500, but with a dominant bullpen and some young talent stepping up, I do think this team could reach the mid-80s in their wins, especially if DeLauter gets back healthy. So because of that, we are going to take the over here of 82.5 wins, and we're going to give it 3 baseballs on the confidence meter. All right, CMA Nation, that's all we got. We'll be back tomorrow with 2 more. Thanks. See ya. Take care.